Welcome to this meeting about the invasive ambrosia beetle. This is a public portion of the meeting that we've had going on since Sunday morning that had 64 participants from all around the world. And many of those participants are in the audience. So if you see a name tag like this, you know they attended the meeting. And these are worldwide experts on ambrosia beetles and their fungal symbionts. So if you have any questions, if you're from the general public, feel free to ask these people if you have any questions. So my name is Mary Lou Arpaia. I'm an extension specialist at University of California, Riverside in the botany department. I work with citrus and avocados. I'm a horticulturalist by training. And it's my pleasure to moderate the meeting and to welcome you to this meeting. Before we begin the program, I have one housekeeping item. The meeting, as you know, was free of charge, but there is a $4 charge for parking. And so what you need to do if you need to pay for parking is go to the registration desk here at the hotel, tell them that you attended this meeting because normally parking is $8. Okay, so we have a discount on the parking. So you need to pay for the parking at the front desk of the hotel if you haven't. We also receive continuing education credit. And if you did not sign up, the sign-up sheets for the arborist hours, pest control advisors, and DPR hours is all on a table out by the registration desk. So please don't forget to do that if you want those. This meeting is co-sponsored by several entities. And first and foremost is the Hofsche Foundation, headed up by Reuben Hofsche. And I mentioned Reuben's name first because it was really his vision. He came to a group of us at UC Riverside and said, we have to have a meeting about the ambrosia beetle now, but rather than later before it gets out of hand. And he's been the primary sponsor of the meeting and the visionary who has sort of pushed this meeting into reality. Other sponsors, of course, is the University of California Riverside campus, the UC Riverside Center of Invasive Species Research, headed up by Mark Hoddle. The Los Angeles Arboretum has been very active in the planning of this meeting, as well as the Huntington Botanical Gardens. So we want to say thank you very much. And then last but not least, the California Avocado Commission has been very active and really in the form of funding some of the initial research that you will hear about today. So with that, I'd like to invite Reuben to come up and say a couple welcoming comments. Reuben.
Well, you think you know everything till you start talking to people about beetles, and it's amazing how little we really know and how much information is out there that it's not being communicated because not everybody is talking to everybody. So this gives us an opportunity here to really see people like Bob Baglia, Randy Plotz, to say just a few of the names of people that came in here and were just took out of their time. Diana Six is on the way to Korea. She came here. Our friends from Israel came here, and that's a long trip. People came from India and Thailand and Sri Lanka and Japan. It was an amazing effort by everybody to come here and participate. And one guy I really became somebody I really became very respectful of, and is Tom Atkinson. I think he's unbelievable. Now there's one guy that really has a picture of things in a very different way that most of us. Obviously, there are people, some young scientists out there, that, especially from Florida, that can really enlighten us, not to say that the people from UCR are not on that list. But I think we're going to see a lot of collaboration coming out of this. and a lot of help to Tim Payne, who's going to be doing the research on the beetle biology and control. And I don't know, it's been some 3 days. Okay.
On behalf of the University of California, Jody Holt, who is our new Associate Director, Dean for the College of Agricultural and Natural Sciences, also will give a few welcoming comments. Jody.
Many of you might have expected to see Tim Payne here, and I noticed he just walked out, so I'm going to talk about him for a minute. About a month ago, I took on the position of Associate Dean of Agriculture and Natural Resources in the College of Natural and Agricultural Sciences. So I had to spend some time remembering which was which. And I cannot tell you how many people in that short amount of time have expressed to me their appreciation for Tim and the work that he did when he was in this position. And Tim has just been an incredible, he's actually conveniently standing up right there. So he's been an incredible supporter of agriculture and the agricultural enterprise at UCR, and he's left some large shoes to fill, and I just want to publicly thank you. And I've been at UCR 30 years, probably longer than Tim, and my background is I'm a botanist, and I've worked in weed science, weedy and invasive plants in agriculture and wildlands for all that time. So I, too, am connected with the agricultural industry, and I know a lot of the people who are here, and one of my former students is here, actually. So I really look forward to continuing what Tim has been doing to support and grow the agricultural enterprise at UCR. I also want to say that on behalf of Dean Mary Lynn Yates and the college, we fully appreciate and understand the value and importance of the avocado industry to the state and the region and the country and to UCR. And we certainly look forward to continuing discussions with members of the Avocado Commission and all of you on how we can best meet your needs. So we are welcoming those discussions, and our door is always open. And I also want to thank our amazing sponsor, Reuben Hofsche and the Hofsche Foundation, and acknowledge how many people at UCR are involved in organizing and speaking here. I'm really proud of all our departments in agricultural areas, so thank you all. And finally, this late, you don't need a welcome from me. In fact, some of you might want to be released from the heat here, but I am going to welcome you to this session and welcome the new participants, and perhaps we even have some members of the Chancellor's Agricultural Advisory Commission here, or Council here. So if you're here, welcome, and I look forward, along with you, to learning more about this pest.
Today's meeting, the last 3 days, and today's meeting, we had a planning committee, and I want to acknowledge the planning committee because I'm not an entomologist or plant pathologist. I can organize people's travel schedules and things like that, but coming up with the program, we needed the input of everybody. So the planning committee for this meeting and for the last 2.5 days was myself, Keith Eskelin, who is a member of the Department of Plant Pathology and Microbiology at Riverside, Reuben Hofsche of the Hofsche Foundation, Joe Morris and Tim Payne and Richard Stouthammer, members of the Department of Entomology at UC Riverside. So I'd like to thank them for their efforts in planning this meeting. And then there's 2 additional people I like to acknowledge because since I work with citrus and avocados, I'm not connected to the landscape industry. And Don Hodel and Sabrina Drill, both advisors in Los Angeles County, were extremely helpful in getting the word out for this meeting to the landscape industry, and I want to thank them for their help on that. So with that, pardon me? Mark, I'm sorry. That's what you get for doing this at 11 o'clock last night. Okay, so next slide. So the meeting goals today is that we want to describe the problem, and we have 4 speakers that will be talking to you about the problem and the ambrosia beetle. Richard Stouthammer from UC Riverside, Sri Mendel, who is a research entomologist, at the Agricultural Research Organization in Israel, because they have this pest in avocados in Israel, Akiv Eskelin, plant pathologist, and Don Hodel, who is our landscape advisor in LA County. Then we're going to have two speakers to report back to you on what the outcome of the science meeting we just completed. Richard Stouthammer will present to you more of a scientific perspective. And then we were very lucky to have Tom Roberts, who is a pest control advisor who works with both avocados and citrus, give you his perspective on the meeting. That will be followed up by three speakers who will talk about different management strategies, and includes Tim Payne from entomology, Tom Coleman from the U.S. Department of Forestry, and Ruben Arias from the California Department of Food and Agriculture. And then last but not least, following a question and answer period, will be Mark Hoddle from the Department of Entomology, who will provide a summation and wrap up of the meeting. So with that, we'll go to our first speaker, which is Richard Stouthammer, on what is the problem.